Don't feel anything when I do paintings at all. I have nothing to feel. I rather like the dog in this painting. I'm rather sorry that I put that image down in the front. I think perhaps it would have been better without it. I don't quite know. I like the dog. Sort of, it looks as if it's just lying there, as though it's had a really good run and exhausted. And you can see it with his tongue out and everything else. And I like the foot in it. I rather like that painting. I don't know why. And it's because it's really artificial. You could never have a window just like that. Because I think the more artificial they are, after all, art is artifact. And the more artificial they are, the more artificial you can make them now, the better. And the more intense they will be.
That figure in the foreground that slightly worries you now, did you put that in last?
I put it in the end. I felt it wanted something, but I couldn't put an awful vase of tulips or something. And so I put this thing in. But I think I could have found something. I think perhaps if I'd used one of the Greek statues or Egyptian statues, so it might have looked better. I don't really know.
Egyptian statues are some of the things you like best of all, aren't they?
I think this is the greatest art that's ever been done, actually. I think that the Egyptian things about 2,500 BC to 3,000 to 2,500 are the very greatest things that man has ever made, almost. And you see, they were made by artisans. Of course, they generally had a religious reason behind them. And they were an attempt to defeat death, as all Egyptian art was. You may say we're always trying to defeat death by leaving images, but it won't make any difference. We'll just be dead, and well, the image may live on. The Egyptians have lived on, and they seem more grand now than, I mean, or just as grand, I'm sure, as they ever looked. But, well, there it is. I don't know.
Why are you so attracted to painting the figure? The human figure?
Because it's to me it's the most interesting thing to tell. I'm not a landscape painter. And that thing coming through the blue sky really comes from one of the fates, the Furies, in fact. You know, the Furies that we're all haunted with by all our guilt and our everything. I'm not very much haunted with guilt these days. I don't care if I was, really.
But you're very fond of Aeschylus, aren't you?
Yes, I do, because it brings up, I read it because it brings up the most, to me, exciting images. That's the reason I often read it.
Because of the Furies and the...
Well, not only of that, but the whole thing, the violence of Aeschylus, brings up the images. I mean, if you remember that wonderful translation of one of his lines, the reek of human blood smiles out at me. Well, what could be more amazing than that? It immediately brings up the most astonishing images.
Over the wide rolling earth we've ranged in flock, hurdling the waves in wingless flight, and now we come, all hot pursuit, outracing ships astern, and now he's here somewhere, cowering like a hare. The reek of human blood, its laughter to my heart.
Well, how long have you worked here?
Well, I've been here for years, about 23 years or more. And it's a kind of dump that nobody else would want, but I can work here. These are my few abstract pictures here. And because I use the walls and things just to test the colours out on.
Yeah. And you like leaving all this stuff there?
Well, I do. I just leave it there. I've even tried to clean it up. But I work much better in chaos. I couldn't work if it was a beautifully tidy studio. It would be absolutely impossible for me.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. Chaos, for me, breeds images. I generally try and work regularly because when people talk about inspiration, I think what is called inspiration only comes really from regular work.
You didn't go to art school, did you?
No, thank God. I would have been taught all those techniques that I don't want to know. I mean, I want to find my own technique, because if you're trying to do something that's rather different and new, you can't use the old techniques which have already been used. You make your own technique.
So how did you learn? I mean, how did you learn to make your own technique? By doing it?
Trial and error, by just trying to do it. That's all.
When you come to a canvas, have you an idea in your head as to what the finished image is going to be before you start?
I have an overall image of what I want to do, but it's in the working that it develops. And you see, it's a very difficult problem, this now, as I'm a figurative painter, and I think that that you can't any longer make illustration, because it's done so much better by the camera and by the cinema. So you have to really concentrate on making, you have to, I thought about it very clearly this morning, wrote it down, and I put it in my pocket. Now I can't remember what I was going to say. Can I use it?
Yes, do.
What I thought of saying. And I just said, not illustration of reality, but to create images which are concentration of reality and a shorthand of sensation.
Do you do drawings beforehand?
No.
You go straight onto the canvas?
Yes.
With the paint?
Yes.
What's the advantage of that?
Well, because I find if I drew it, and then I should just be making an illustration of the drawing. So it's so much better to immediately attack the canvas with the paint.
What you like to do, I believe, is to somehow let your unconscious take over. Is that right?
Well, that's as far as one can. I would like it to, because after all, there's this deep sea, which we call the unconscious, which we know nothing about. I always hope the most wonderful images will emerge from it.
At the same time, though, you believe in things being deeply ordered, don't you?
Yes.
So what?
I believe in a deeply ordered chaos.
And how do you
in
try?
my work.
How, when you're in front of the canvas, how do you try to arrive at that? What do you go through to try to arrive at that?
Well, because the unconscious things that I try to, the images that I try to make, I still, at the same time, want them to look very ordered.
But you don't want to be in control of them.
Well, this is a great problem. In the very first place, when they come up, you're not in control of them. But when the image seems to emerge, then to make it, you have to control it. But in control, you see, this is where with painting, it's so difficult, painting in oils, is you make an image and it's changing all the time. And then it's to do with your own instinct and sensibility, which turns it one way or another. That doesn't mean that I haven't got an overall idea of the type of thing that I would have liked to make, but I don't know how to make it.
Yes. So you come in with an overall image which you don't want to define except through working towards it.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly how it is.
Yes. That's putting yourself at risk all the time, isn't it?
Well, don't you think you have to? At least
Yeah.
as an artist, you always have to. I mean, if otherwise you turn into an academician.
Are you excited when you're painting, or are you absorbed, or are you depressed, or what? Do you have a particular mood, or does it change a great deal?
Well, of course, it changed like all our moods.
Yeah.
It changes, yes. But